Hi, everyone. So I wanted to come to you today with some fresh revelation on what it looks like and what it actually means to follow Jesus. And lately I've had this theme of dance that keeps coming up in my conversations with God, and he really just brought it home for me today, so I want to share it with you. So let me start by saying I love to dance. Maybe I'll rephrase a little bit. I love the idea of dance. I'll dance when no one's watching. When I was a gymnast growing up, I would incorporate dance into my routines. And I always loved the idea and was kind of fascinated by ballroom dance, Latin dance, swing dance. When I was living in Nashville, Tennessee, I thought about taking lessons. And then I found out that my friend Dale could dance. And of course he can. He's one of those guys who can just do anything. So he said, well, you don't really need to take lessons. All you have to do is follow my lead. And so we set up a time to go out dancing. And I did have fun, but I discovered something about myself. And that is, I am a terrible follower. I mean, just awful. And you might say, oh, well, I'm that way too. I'm kind of a control freak. Well, I had that element as well, that I do kind of have that control freak side of me, or I have had it. I'm kind of progressing out of it, hopefully. Lord willing, he's going to help me. But the other issue I had was because I had been a gymnast for so many years of my life, especially the formative years, the way I learned to incorporate dance in my life was as an individual and in a very highly choreographed, detail-oriented, precise kind of way. I had no concept of what it meant to dance in the partnership aspect. I had no idea how to dance as a partner, and I certainly didn't know how to follow. I only knew how to learn steps and how to repeat a process. And so this idea, or this, the idea was great. I love the idea of partnership. I love being a part of a team. I really love that concept. But when it comes down to it, when I actually was stepping into that place, there was a disconnect because I had been trained a certain way. My brain was trained in this very specific way, and that was to go it alone, to learn the steps, to learn the process, to learn the formula, to repeat it, to practice it until I had it down, and then to do it. And that's the only way I knew how to dance. So that made it really hard when it came to learning to dance with a partner and learning to follow. So, lately, this idea of dance, like I said, has been coming back in my conversations with God. And so this morning, I just do what I've been doing and ask him what's on his heart today. And what he said to me was this, and this is my journal that I'm in right now, just my prayer journal, personal prayer journal. So I'm actually going to read to you what he said to me. And this is from God to me. He said, my heart is to have a dance partner. Forcing your own timeline is a form of rebellion. You've done this both by rushing ahead when I say wait, and also by waiting when I have asked you to move. You love the idea of team, but struggle to stay in sync and follow my lead. Trust me to lead. Trust yourself to relax and follow my lead. This doesn't have to be a struggle. And this was all said from compassion, from a heart of love. You know, when correction comes from the heart of God, it's so kind, and it's to lead us to an upward place, to give us that step up that we've been asking for, that we've been looking for, that we need. And for me, this really put a whole new picture on it when Jesus says, follow me. I've always thought about it in kind of a linear fashion almost, or like, Jesus walking a path or walking down a road and I'm following him or staying as close to him as possible. But he gave me a picture the other day of just him extending his hand to me, and there was this ballroom, this ball going on, and he was inviting me to come dance with him. And I remember I kind of giggled, like, surely he knows I'm not a good follower, right? Of course he does. That's why the invitation is there. So what God brought to my mind were a couple of specific scriptures. The first one is Galatians 5:25, which says, stay in step with the Spirit. And again, I've always thought of that differently. I thought of that in terms of like, again, like, okay, where are you? Okay, I'm going to go there. And yeah, that's what it means. But there's this beauty and this flow in dance, and there's a partnership in it. And then Jesus, for example, in John 5:19, Jesus, who is our example, said he only does what he sees the Father doing. And I had never thought of that in terms of dance either, but really there was that partnership, and he was constantly in communication, constantly asking and seeing where is God moving and staying in step with the Father. And so we have this idea that of what following God looks like, or at least I do have this idea of what following God looks like. And for me, sometimes I will try to find the formula. I'll try to find the steps. I'll say, okay, what steps do I need to take? Okay, now it's my turn to then do it. But that's that gymnast routine mentality. That's not actually a partnership mentality. And so he's really inviting me into this new place of understanding what it means to follow him. And there's that desire he has for a dance partner, which is just really beautiful. And so I hope this has helped you today to see how you're actually being invited into a dance, how Jesus is reaching his hand out to you to bring you onto the dance floor. And so I encourage you, don't sit on the sidelines and be a wallflower and watch the dance go on. And also don't be like me, or like I have been, and look at the dance steps and then try to go it alone. That's not the way that we're made. That's not what God wants. He wants us in partnership with him. And so in following him, it's following his lead in this beautiful dance. And so I hope this has blessed you today. I hope this has encouraged you. If it has, share, comment, let me know what you think. Let me know where you're at in your walk with God, or what following looks like to you, or even what kind of dance do you like? Do you dance and sing in the shower? Do you dance in the kitchen? Do you actually take dance lessons? Is this something that is a part of your life? I'd just love to hear more about you. So throw a comment down and be blessed today.